I mentioned in the opening session that if you look at Africa, for example, typically Africa doesn't get into the general news unless something bad happens somewhere. People know about the turmoil we had in Zimbabwe before the power sharing agreement was made. They know about Darfur. But a lot of good things are happening. People know that there are problems with HTB and malaria, but a lot of progress has been made. And I'd like for you to just give us a little rundown on what good things you think are happening where and why, things you're involved in.
Well, this is a great week to be taking stock of the progress that's been made because it's kind of this midpoint for the Millennium Development Goals. That was a set of goals that were set in 2000, and there was a target for 2015. So we're kind of just past the halfway point, and a lot of people are looking at that and saying, okay, what are the success stories, what's gone well, and what do we need to do more of? And really, there's immensely good news here. So as we look at these numbers, I think of it kind of like a report card. You know, we can look at the malaria numbers, we can look at the infant mortality numbers. Overall in the world, we're doing quite well on those. Africa's the toughest place, but even there, we see countries that are doing very well. And these numbers improve. Malaria is a great one because the BedNet is an intervention that a lot of people are being asked to give money for, and they can have a very clear image that if they donate for that BedNet, it's being used, the adults, the kids are under that net, they're not being bit, and so malaria deaths are being cut dramatically. Zambia, who's one of the first to try and get broad coverage of this, just in the last few years has cut malaria deaths by over 40%. And so we're going to scale up those interventions and get more people involved, get more people giving. So a lot of good news. I think your point is a key one, which is that bad things kind of happen dramatically, all of a sudden. And the good things, it's day-by-day improvement. And so stepping back and taking stock and saying, okay, these vaccines are so great. What does it take to get more? What does it take to get 100% coverage? That's a very valuable thing to bring into the way we look at how we help the poorest.
There's a lot of background murmuring here, even though all these folks are committed, and we're sort of preaching to the saved about whether the turmoil in our financial markets and other economic challenges will necessarily lead to a reduction in the level of commitment, not just of money, but of time and skills and sometimes physical objects to the non-governmental work. What's your take on that? What would you say to somebody who says, look, I'd like to keep doing this, but my stock's only worth 60% of what it was last week?
Well, I think for companies, the great companies take a long-term view and they take a global view. And as they think about either having their products be relevant to people further down on the income rings, or they think about hiring in the brightest people and competing with other companies for that, this idea of taking some of their innovation power, whether it's what they do with cell phones, if they're a cell phone company, or drug invention, if they're a pharmaceutical company, or loans at small levels, if they're a bank, that type of activity will give them an edge. And I can't claim that it'll give them an edge in the short term, but great business success is not based on just thinking about the short term. It's based on hiring those great people and developing the reputation over a period of decades.
You have to make decisions running this vast foundation that others may have to make even more frequently. So how do you say no, and how do you decide who to say yes to? What system do you have?
Well, I think every foundation would probably be better off if they took on a narrower set of things and they took them on in a deeper way and a longer term way. Because what you're providing is not just money. You're providing a voice, you're providing expertise, you're creating jobs. And when you first get into an area, you're kind of naive, you make mistakes. And so in the case of our foundation, we picked the global health as the big thing, and just infectious diseases. And I do think for any of you, it can be daunting to say, do I pick this, or I pick that, or I pick the other thing. At some point, you really do just have to pick. And get into it and get down that learning curve and get the people who are deeply dedicated to that thing and start to partner with anybody who's in a connected area. And, I'm amazed at how fun the foundation work is. I mean, I'd say, if anything, I enjoy the foundation work even more than I enjoyed my Microsoft work. And that's saying a lot. I had, immense fun being part of the Microsoft stuff.
Give him a hand. Bill Gates. Thank you.